This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutastrophe. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, June the 7th, is a star player who used to be a legend in the Western Hockey League, then went to the NHL with Boston. Now he's with the Calgary Flames currently. He's 35 years old. His name is Milan Lucic, and I don't know if he's going to retire. Anyway, he was born in East Vancouver to a Serbian couple. That's why Lucic is his last name. His father was a longshoreman who immigrated to North America from Serbia. And his mom moved to Vancouver with her parents. But anyway, he has a younger brother named Nikola and an older brother named Jovan. His maternal uncle actually played hockey for Vancouver, Pittsburgh, Tampa, and Dallas. Dan Kessa. Lucic was a fan of the hometown Vancouver Canucks, of course. Why? Well, it's Vancouver. Lucic actually was diagnosed with Scheuermann's disease, a condition that can cause the upper back to curve and gives him a hunched over posture. But anyway, he would be there. He was invited to play of the in Junior A, but was passed up. But he decided to play for Junior B, and then jumped up to Junior A when they wanted him. So he would play for the Collegium Express. And then the Western Hockey League Vancouver Giants said, you know what, let's take this guy, hometown pride. So he did it. He would join the Giants full-time in 2006, scoring 19 points in 62 games, and actually helped Vancouver get to the 2006 Memorial Cup. Shockingly, in the 2006 draft, the Boston Bruins would take him 50th overall in the draft. They actually wanted to pick him at 37, but went with Yuri Alexandriev instead. But Boston must have been happy when they found out that Lucic was dropped into their lap. In the second round of the 2006 draft, only Michael Neuvert and Jeff Petrie were decent names that were picked up. But anyway, yeah, Boston knew what they had to do. All that. This was the draft of Eric Johnson, Jordan Staal, Jonathan Toews, Nick Backstrom, Phil Kessel, Derek Brassard. A very good front six. Anyway, they were fortunate to get him. So Boston sent him back to the WHL, and he was one of the Giants' stars. The Giants were close to winning the WHL championship, losing to Medicine Hat in 7. Fortunately, Vancouver got a lifeline, as they were the host of the 2007 Memorial Cup. And in the Memorial Cup, it's the OHL, Quebec League, and Western Hockey League champions, plus the host team, if they're good enough. So, Vancouver got it. Strange as it sounds, Vancouver got revenge on Medicine Hat in the final, winning the Memorial Cup. So Lucic did quite well and all that. He was named the tournament MVP. He was actually honored with a bobblehead doll. And when Vancouver's WHL team celebrated 10 years of hockey, Lucic was named the #1 player of all time. So he would sign an entry-level contract with the Bruins after the Memorial Cup in 2007 and made the team out of training camp. He played in his first NHL game October 5th, 2007 against the Stars, actually fighting somebody, Brad Winchester. A week later, he would score against Jonathan Bernier, his first NHL goal, and it was a game winner. So he had grit and all that. Boston decided to keep him in the lineup, even though that he could have been easily sent back to Vancouver in the WHL. But no, they didn't want to. So he took part in the Young Stars game, and he exceeded expectations and all that. Lucic would do quite well and all that. Lucic actually had his Memorial Cup ring stolen from his home in 2008. But thankfully, the Vancouver Giants ownership gave him a replica ring. So anyway, Lucic was huge and all that. Unfortunately, though, Lucic got suspended for one game in the 2009 playoffs with the Bruins after a cross-check to the head of Maxim Lapierre of the Habs. But, it didn't matter. Boston did go to the second round, but lost in Game 7 to the Carolina Hurricanes. Lucic was given a 3-year, $12 million contract extension in 2009, and it was structured in such a way. Lucic did score 5 goals for the Bruins in their playoff series against the Flyers in 2010, but unfortunately that series is remembered for Boston's double 3-0 choke. As bad as Boston was for choking a 3-0 series lead to the Flyers and losing in 7, the Bruins actually were up 3-0 in Game 7 and lost it. So yeah. Anyway, Lucic was known more for his glory days and all that. Lucic was part of the Bruins team that won the 2011 Stanley Cup, as of course you see in the picture. Lucic actually was playing through injuries. He actually suffered a broken toe blocking a shot in practice. Actually had a sinus infection, caused improper breathing and all that. But fortunately, the Lucic would actually have off-season surgery for the sinus thing. Anyway, Lucic would celebrate with the cup, his one day with the cup in Vancouver. Of course, Lucic had to keep it private because, Vancouver lost the Stanley Cup in 2011 final. And of course, let's not forget that riot. And there were a lot of people and all that. It was actually well received by people and all that. So anyway, he brought it to a Serbian Orthodox church, but then months later it was vandalized. The church was. Anyway, Lucic got into trouble by hitting Ryan Miller in the Sabres goalie. Like, Miller came out of his net to play a puck, but Lucic bounced into him. Anyway, he would not be suspended and all that, which Buffalo took offense to. Lucic would play in Boston until 2015 when he was traded to LA for Martin Jones, the goalie, and the 13th overall pick in the 2015 NHL draft, which was a flop. Lucic, in his only season with the Kings, scored 20 goals. And he was an unrestricted free agent. So the Oilers decided to take him to a 7-year, $42 million contract, which was huge. His number 17 couldn't be worn he couldn't wear number 17 in Edmonton because Gary Curry's number, and it was retired. So he wore 27. He had a successful first year, scoring 23 goals, helping the Oilers break their 11-year Stanley Cup playoff drought. Because the last time the Oilers, before 2017, made the playoffs was 2006 when they went to the finals and lost Game 7. Lucic did fine, but then after his first season, his production would decline and all that. To the point, in his third year with the Oilers, he had only had 20 points. Lucic, July 2019, decided to waive his no-movement clause and wanted to be traded because he was not helping the team. So he got traded to Calgary for James Neal. But expectations were huge. Lucic would wear number 17 because no Calgary Flame legend wore number 17. Lucic would get a couple suspensions and all that. Anyway, there was a kind of weird thing. Lucic did get to the 1,000 regular season games, and he's still with Calgary. And Lucic just won the 2023 World Championships with Canada this past year. So Canada just won about a week ago when this is being taped. But Lucic is now world champion. Anyway, he married his longtime girlfriend Brittany and have 3 children, Valentina, Nicolina, and Milan Jr. In his career nowadays, he has 584 points in 1,173 NHL games with almost 1,300 penalty minutes. He has 77 points in 136 games. In the playoffs, of course, he was part of Boston's run in 2011, winning the Stanley Cup, and in 2013, almost winning the Stanley Cup. So yeah, so he's a Stanley Cup champ, and that can't be taken away from him. And a World Cup champ. So yeah, can't take that away from him. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond, I do.